The high-powered British bolt-action sniper rifle responsible for one of the longest recorded kills in history, the Accuracy International Arctic Warfare series of rifles are among the most iconic ever made. Developed in the 1980s to replace the long-lived wooden classic known as the Lee Enfield, the Arctic Warfare has become the trusted mil-spec sniper rifle of dozens of nations around the globe. Reliable, versatile, and incredibly effective, the Arctic Warfare rifles are purpose-built military sniper rifles capable of dispensing rounds in any environment. Weighing in at 14.3 pounds, with a length of 46.5 inches, the Arctic Warfare series fires either the NATO standard 7.62 by 51mm round, 338 Lapua, or 300 Winchester Magnum rounds out of 5 or 10 round box magazines. Effective at ranges of up to 800 meters, but easily capable of reaching distances of up to 4 kilometers, these battle-proven rifles fire their rounds at speeds of up to 850 meters per second. The Arctic Warfare's story begins with two Daves, Dave Walls and Dave Kaeg, both being established engineers and competitive shooters. In the 1970s, the two men began constructing replicas of an 1860 Colt Army and 1873 Colt single-action Army after hours at their place of work, after seeing pictures of them, wondering if they could do it and if they could sell them. Without any models on hand or blueprints whatsoever, the two Daves used whatever resources they could find to create these two replicas, be it pictures and descriptions in books and magazines, or observing examples at gun auctions. Eventually, they completed their pistols and took them to a gun auction for evaluation, where they were examined by an expert on Colt handguns. After a considerable time inspecting the two models Walls and Kaeg had with them, the expert told the men they were some of the finest Colt models he had ever seen, but there was just one problem. One handgun was missing a notch used to attach an optional shoulder stock. Walls and Kaeg admitted to making the weapons themselves, to which the expert responded, "If you built these pistols from a photograph, you should be in the business of making guns." And so, in 1978, along with British Olympic shooting gold medalist Malcolm Cooper, his wife and fellow British Olympic shooter Sarah Cooper, and Martin Kay, they founded Accuracy International. Initially, the company did work on pre-existing competition rifles to make ends meet, but increasingly focused on designing their own rifles for competitive shooting, and by 1981, their prototypes would start to take shape, including features that would become the signatures of their rifles, such as the thumbhole stock, but it was their next design that would make real headway. At this time, the majority of sniper rifles used in service globally were hunting rifles customized for a sniping role, and Accuracy International sought to change that. So, in 1982, the company designed the Precision Marksman based on their earlier competitive shooting designs, but also solicited the help of trained snipers to create a rugged and reliable purpose-built sniper rifle. This new rifle was received well, adopted by the SAS in small numbers and by a handful of British police forces, and the British Ministry of Defence, already knowing Malcolm Cooper for his Olympic achievements, invited Accuracy International to submit the Precision Marksman design for a competition, to find a replacement for the British Lee Enfield rifle, a design in service since 1895, and last refined in 1970 as the L42A1. For this competition, Walls and Kaeg refined the Precision Marksman design with a new lightweight polymer stock, using materials sourced from the same ones used to build off-road vehicles, and adding an adjustable two-stage trigger, and soon submitted it to the British Army for evaluation. During testing, the updated rifle was reported to have hit man-sized targets at distances of 600 and 900 meters with the first shot 85% of the time, and was able to deliver effective suppressive fire at up to 1,100 meters, and by 1985, the rifle had defeated the Parker Hale Model 85, H&K PSG-1, Sig Sauer SSG 2000, and the Remington Model 700, adopted by the British as the L96A1. On March 11, 1985, a contract was drawn up for a little over 1,200 rifles, the first of these newly adopted snipers delivered in 1987. Accuracy International, despite their competitive shooting and rifle expertise, really didn't expect to win the L96A1 designation. viewing the competition as a means to gauge their rifle against the big global manufacturers and as a learning opportunity for future designs. This contract meant the company would have to increase its manufacturing capabilities, as the majority of their rifles were developed in Dave Walls' shed, and soon began building L96A1 rifles in Portsmouth on England's southern coast. The company continued producing these rifles, and by 1988, following a request by the Swedish Armed Forces, the L96 was refined to operate more reliably in colder climates, and this new rifle, soon adopted by the Swedes and then the British shortly after the L96 contract expired, was dubbed the Arctic Warfare, or AW. This name stems from its capability to function in conditions as cold as -40 degrees Celsius. Since entering production in 1988, the Arctic Warfare rifle has been updated and adapted various times, the first being the AWP. In the early 1990s, the Arctic Warfare Police, or AWP, would be produced for law enforcement units, with a shorter 24-inch barrel and a black frame as opposed to the original's green frame. At the same time, the Arctic Warfare Suppressed, AWS, and Arctic Warfare Covert, AWC, were produced, both having an integral suppressor designed for subsonic ammunition, and both having shortened barrels at 16 and 12 inches respectively, the AWC having a folding stock and being concealable in a provided case. In 1996, the Arctic Warfare Magnum, or AWM, was produced. This rifle chambered for the .338 Lapua and 300 Winchester Magnum cartridges, also having a longer bolt than previous models to accommodate for the larger rounds. In 1998, the Arctic Warfare Magnum Folding, AWMF, and the Arctic Warfare Folding, AWF, were produced, both being side-folding stock variants of the AW and AWM rifles. The final variants of the original Arctic Warfare series are the AW50 and AW50F rifles, these being 50 BMG chambered Arctic Warfare variants, the AW50F having a folding stock. The AX series, consisting of the AXMC, chambered in .338 Lapua, 300 Winchester, and convertible to 7.62 NATO, the AX308, chambered exclusively in 7.62 by 51mm NATO, and the AX50, chambered exclusively in 50 BMG, are the modern incarnations of the Arctic Warfare rifles, with improved barrels, stronger bolts, and new adjustable stocks, being introduced in 2010. There also exist two other Arctic Warfare series variants, those being the Accuracy Enforcement and Accuracy Tactical series of rifles, these being cheaper and simplified variants of the AW and AX series rifles respectively, both designed for civilian and law enforcement use, and both exclusively chambered in 7.62 by 51mm NATO, the AE series in production since 2001, being phased out in 2014, when the AT series began production. The Arctic Warfare's time in service has been extensive, finding use with the armed forces of dozens of nations globally, seeing combat in the Iraq and Afghanistan wars, along with the Syrian civil war. It was during a mission during the Afghanistan war in 2009 that British Army sniper Corporal Craig Harrison of the Household Cavalry set the record for the longest confirmed sniper kill, killing 2 Taliban machine gunners consecutively at a distance of 2,475 meters using an L115A3 rifle, the British Army designation for their mil-spec variant of the AWM, a record that, although having been beaten since, is still within the top 10 longest recorded sniper kills. In 2009, Accuracy International entered the soon-to-be-released AX308 design into the United States Special Operation Command's Precision Sniper Rifle competition, being beaten out by the Remington Modular Sniper Rifle in 2013, but the Modular Sniper Rifle was dropped in 2018 for not meeting specifications, and replaced by the Barrett MRAD in 2019 as the winner of the Mark 21 PSR designation. As for Accuracy International, they continue to produce precision rifles to this day, being a far bigger operation than the small group of firearms and shooting enthusiasts operating out of a shed in suburban England that started it almost 50 years ago. The so-called Green Meanie, the Precision Marksman, and the subsequent Arctic Warfare series are amongst the most iconic weapons ever designed, From its distinctive green frame to its reputation for accuracy and reliability, this series of rifles is undeniably excellent. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe, and comment below what videos you would like to see next.